Hey everyone, this is Daniel from Phone Arena with our next video comparison, and this time we have the Battle of the Titans here. This expression gets an entirely new meaning when you pit the Sony Xperia Z Ultra against the Samsung Galaxy Mega 6.3. There have never been phones before with screens that large, so we had to stake a cage match. In one corner is Sony's latest and greatest 6.4-inch phone, stuffed to the gills with a high-res display, a watertight chassis and record-fast processor. In the other is the Mega 6.3, which should be a more budget version of a big screen phone if we look at the mid-range specs, but its price doesn't really convey that. Which one will prevail? Let's find out. Believe it or not, the 6.4-inch Z Ultra is much larger than the 6.3-inch Galaxy phone. As you can see, it is way taller and a tad wider than Samsung's handset, which makes it even more unwieldy to talk on or carry around, for example. Not that with 8mm the Galaxy Mega 6.3 isn't slim, but at just 6.5mm Sony's handset is record thin, which eases handling somewhat. Still, you can forget about comfortable one-handed operation with both handsets, and sitting with those in your pocket is a chore unless you carry combat pants with side pockets all the time. These sizes are actually only suited for purses and talking through a Bluetooth handset, rather than, say, folks with skinny jeans or any jeans for that matter. The Z Ultra is undoubtedly the more premium phone to hold and to look at, with its glass back and the metal side frames, whereas the Galaxy Mega 6.3 leaves that typical Samsung plasticky feeling in your hand, and it is not even much lighter than the Z Ultra to boot. The buttons around the sides on both handsets are comfortable to feel and press with good tactile feedback. Sony's round Omni-Balance power lock key is present here, very well placed, exactly where your thumb would be on this huge handset, while the one on the Mega 6.3 is a bit off kilter in that respect, way up here. The Galaxy phone has the advantage of a user replaceable battery, removable back cover, unlike what we get with the unibody design of the Xperia Z Ultra, which still grants you a micro SD slot, however, for storage expansion, right here under this protective flap. Sony's sealed chassis has a major purpose, and it is to give the phone its IP58 certification, which means it can stay in up to 5 feet, 1.5 meters of water for about an hour, which is a huge plus for the Z Ultra when pitted against the Mega 6.3. Just try to watch the final season of Breaking Bad in the bathtub, for example, and you'll see what we mean, how important the waterproof certification of the Z Ultra will turn out to be. The Galaxy Mega 6.3 features an HD LCD display, which is the norm for upper mid-ranges these days. It spreads the 720 by 1280 resolution over the giant 6.3-inch screen, ringing in 233 ppi pixel density. Nothing to write home about, so some text and icon edges will look jagged if you look closer. Sony Xperia Z Ultra, on the other hand, features 1080 by 1920 pixels display, Full HD one with 342 ppi pixel density. So even at that screen size, you'd be hard pressed to tell the individual pixels from a normal viewing distance. Sony uses its new triluminous technology for the panel, which provides more vibrant colors with a richer number of hues on paper, and in reality the whole image indeed looks very appealing without being oversaturated at that. The colors on the Mega 6.3 look duller in comparison and more washed out. As for the outdoorsy performance, both displays exhibit similar peak brightness levels, around 450 nits, but the Galaxy Mega 6.3 sports worse reflectance than the Sony Xperia Z Ultra, so it's harder to tell the image in sunlight, for example. Both displays sport very good viewing angles, which in the case of Sony's phablet is a relief when we remember the narrow angles of the display on the flagship Xperia Z, for example. Sony one-ups the Mega 6.3 display in another aspect as well, since you can write or doodle on it with any regular pen or pencil lying around, instead of a dedicated stylus, and with superior handwriting recognition at that. Let's have a look at the interfaces now. We get Android 4.2.2 on both devices. and surely they'll be updated to Android 4.3 in short notice. The interfaces, as you can see, redraw into landscape mode when you turn the phone sideways, which come pretty handy with such large panels. So both the Touch with Nature UX on Galaxy Mega 6.3 and the Social Life interface here on the Xperia Z Ultra have dedicated landscape modes, so which should be a must with such large panels. Galaxy Mega 6.3 offers this famed multi-window mode of Samsung. You can put any two apps next to each other like that. A pretty superior multitasking ability with this 6.3-inch display. Sony Xperia Z Ultra has its small apps version of multitasking, which come up when you press this multitasking on-screen navigational key, and you can float a calculator, browser window, notes window on top of everything else you're doing underneath, which is still a way to do multitasking on the huge 6.4-inch display, but Samsung's multi-window mode is superior. Let's run Quadrant now on both handsets and check out the synthetic benchmark performance. We've got quad-core Snapdragon 800 clocked at 2.2 GHz per core versus a dual-core Snapdragon 400 at 1.7. Just the dry numbers should tell you which one is the speed king here, and it is the Xperia Z Ultra. The handset is so fast that it topped our benchmark results so far. That shows that in the everyday interaction with the phone, there's barely any lag in the interface, there's instant auto-rotate and landscape redraw of the interface, as well as brilliant 3D graphics when you get into gaming mode with the Adreno 330 GPU. Sony's phone also sports more RAM than the Galaxy Mega 6.3. We've got 2 GB here versus 1.5, which further aids performance and multitasking with the phone. Internal memory amount is greater with the Z Ultra 2, double the 8 GB count of Samsung's phone, but both numbers can be built on with a memory card slot. Let's see who fared better. We've got 6,628 on Samsung's phone and 17,758 on the Z Ultra, but we've seen results from it close to the 20,000 mark. A really record fast chipset is this Snapdragon 800 that's on the Xperia Z Ultra. Browsing on these large display panels is one of the activities that eases the pain of carrying around such huge devices. It's again a better experience on Sony's phone, and not because of the negligibly larger screen size, but because of the better quality of the Z Ultra's display. We also get an extremely fast rendering machine, as you can see in both synthetic benchmarks and in real life. Panning, scrolling, zooming, battery smooth and instantaneous on Sony's phone, whereas these actions look a tad choppy in comparison, as you can see on the Mega 6.3. Sony's phone is the first octa-band LTE handset supporting more bands than any other 4G phone on the market, including bands 2 and 4 that US carriers they lock in the phones to these bands on their networks. It also features 42.2 megabits per second HSPA plus pentaband modem for truly global phone abilities. The Galaxy Mega 6.3 supports 42.2 megabits per second as well, but with the European Asian frequencies, and it has a hexaband LTE radio only. Both devices support Wi-Fi radios with support for the fastest, newest AC standard, and we also get Bluetooth 4.0, assisted GPS, FM radio and NFC on both, while Sony adds DNA streaming. MHL ports are present on the Mega 6.3 and the Z Ultra, so you can wire up a TV to the phones with the respective cables and adapters. Rich image editing options can be found built into the Grid Style Gallery apps on both handsets. It's pretty handy to work with such large screen real estates when you edit the photos. The Ultra offers the ability to outline, crop, annotate and shoot images via email or without letting go of a regular pen or pencil as well. The music apps support a number of equalizer presets and sound modes that you can adjust. But the phone supports pretty average loudspeakers, which are strong enough but not that adamant on quality sound output, no matter which sound enhancement you apply. Both phones support most major video formats right out of the box, up to 1080p resolution. This is 1080p MKV movie. As you can see, it runs great on both. The Galaxy Mega 6.3 doesn't support DivX for some reason. On the Xperia Z Ultra, however, the footage is in the beautiful native Full HD resolution, plus this superior contrast and anti-reflectance coating on the phone make viewing much better indoors and out compared to the Mega 6.3. It's just a joy to watch on the 6.4-inch tri-luminous display of the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. Both handsets have 8-megapixel cameras on the back, but the one on the Z Ultra lacks an AOD flash. We get plenty of scene and shooting modes in the camera apps, plus a number of color effects thrown in. Sony lets you shoot both stills and video in HDR mode, and offers much faster camera app startup and shot times, especially for HDR photos compared to Samsung's device. Both phones offer a slightly more saturated look than the scene gives in reality. Luckily, we didn't spot any glaring exposure or white balance issues. Detail captured is in the normal range for 8-megapixel shooters. Noise creeps up significantly more in low light situations when you're shooting with the Z Ultra than the results from the Mega 6.3, and the lack of LED flash makes matters even worse when it's dark around. Video is captured with fluid 30 frames per second in 1080p resolution from the phones, but the Z Ultra has the added advantage here, sporting a superior HDR mode while doing video footage, which evens out the dynamic range and should be left on at all times. So, to cap it all off, the Sony Xperia Z Ultra excels in almost every category imaginable before the Galaxy Mega 6.3, save for the overall size, camera and the earpiece quality somewhat. It has the look and feel of a much more polished, premium and even elegant handset compared to Samsung's phone, if you can use this word for these giant devices at all, that is. Sony's handset also has a much better screen, a way faster processor, better connectivity options, and is waterproof to boot, negating the swappable battery advantage of the Mega 6.3. To top it all off, Samsung's plastic handset is not that much lighter than the metal and glass Xperia Z Ultra, and its price is just about 30% lower. So if you're bent on carrying a huge slab with you at all times, you'd better splurge for a one with the premium build and the future-proof ingredients of the Z Ultra. This was a video comparison between the Samsung Galaxy Mega 6.3 and the Sony Xperia Z Ultra from Phone Arena. For more information about these and other handsets, you can visit us at phonearena.com. Thanks for watching.